Now I'm back home after a 9-day retreat, which was a deep dive into presence and the divine connection of the human divine vehicle, which sounds like a lofty concept, but it's really just our natural state, like what the human is encoded to be as a resident of planet Earth, but also a communication vessel with these higher vibratory fields of information, not just the fields of information that are almost like polluted with the collective mind consciousness of what we call humanity, but the fields that are natural and are flowing from what we could call the divine, the source, that which is beyond all concept, beyond all limitation. And there we meet the highest aspect of ourself that is eternally unchanging and pure. And a human is able to access in awareness this truest part of ourself, which is an amazing thing to think as like a expression of consciousness. The human body is such a vast range of potential experiencing that is really the human gift, the vastness of the range of our experience. Because the human organism is a subtle creature that not only has an amazing structuring of organs, but a highly sophisticated nervous system that feeds into a brain that is like a biological computer, but not only that, is like a subtle antenna of information and thought forms. There are no private thoughts in experience. We're actually just tuning into the collective thought sphere, and we have a unique way of relating to that through the body mind. We select out certain thought forms that we identify with and certain ones that we feel in conflict with, and this forms our identity as a separate self. I love these things, I dislike these things, attractions and aversions. And that's all well and good, Pete, but the question is, how are you now? How am I now? How am I now? Not highfalutin concepts about humanity's role in the cosmos, as fun as that is to explore. Oh, well, thanks for asking. How am I now? Great question. I've returned to my ordinary life after a 9-day deep dive into presence, consciousness, and initiations of light, which feel that they've actually upgraded the awareness of myself in a way that is having palpable effects in the nervous system, almost like energy processes in the head, neck, and shoulders. I could even see that certain healing that had happened had opened up kind of the expression of my left hip and pelvis region, when I looked in the mirror, it looked different. It's interesting. But how am I now? Not what happened, but how am I? Thanks for asking. Let's see. Rather than trying to say something, how am I? I feel blessed to be here, actually, and excited for what life can be. This idea of greater capacity for collaboration seems to be coming in. Like my ability to be aware of others.
How's it going?
Good. Is making me feel more connected, less reactive. More connected, less reactive. And I watched a whole bunch of videos today about bands and music and breaking down songs and how they were performed. And it just has me feeling into the potential of collaboration, like when we just trust ourselves to just fully be here and relax, how life takes its own form and it takes a natural beauty, like the nature that I'm walking through. As we relax into our naturalness, we start to actually meet what we are meant to be, our natural intelligence, and rest into that and allow that to express itself, and also to be met in the world, to be touched and to touch, to interact with and communicate with the environment and the people and characters that we meet. And then we see what kind of natural beauty unfolds from those connections. And everything is just like tinged with a sort of celebratory backdrop, like that's almost like greasing the gears of it all. Like first and foremost, just celebrating our existence, our beingness, that we're here. And from that, then we celebrate the existence of others. It's the same existence. And then we invite people into a sort of celebratory mood and upliftment. And that upliftment is creative. It's inspiring. And that inspiration leads to creativity. And it's not forced, and it's not in the future. It's always now. And the creativity is always settling back into itself to be re-nourished and reinstated and re-expressed. It's never like a duty to maintain or recreate. It's just enjoyment, actually. Just enjoyment of life, living itself. This is what is kind of being found now. And it's through relational things with people, like relaxing into relationship. Like we don't know what is possible in relationship, right? And we are always on a cutting edge of discovering that for ourselves, and not like limiting that by thinking, well, you know, I'm not that type of person, or I don't do these types of things, or I'm too scared to do this or that. You know, what if you just relaxed and just see what might happen and not jump to some self-limiting conclusion? You know, what could happen? We don't know. But maybe a lot of amazing things, you know, especially when few or more people with that same trusting, collaborative openness get together then the intelligence is able to flow through those human bodies and use those bodies in ways that are beyond our comprehension. It's a vast, intelligent choreographing of energy and resources that's just looking for vehicles to use. And it's not special. It's like, this is how nature works. This is how the wind moves things around, and the ocean currents and the roots of the trees feed the microbiology and feed one another through that network, and how the cycles, the water cycles and the air cycles, the gas cycles, it's the same thing in the human body. We're just a part of this whole. But what the human body has uniquely is an awareness of itself and an awareness of its place within the wholeness, that we are not just, we are just a natural phenomenon unfolding, and yet we are aware of that as it happens. We are aware of ourselves, and that's our beingness, is our awareness of ourself. What a profound thing to be aware of life happening through us, to be aware that everything is just unfolding, and to be a creative vessel for that unfoldment by allowing, by receiving, by allowing, by receiving, by allowing, by giving freely of what we discover and receiving the fruits of that giving. And in the receiving, we are enriched and we are deepened and we are brought more insight, and we share and we receive in whatever way is in attunement with our particular laws of nature, just like a tree gives based on its laws of nature. And the more resources the tree is able to effectively gather and organize into itself and live and be as in its naturalness, the more gifts it's actually able to give to its environment, the birds, the bugs, the other trees, the shade that it gives, the cooling effect that it has, the oxygen that it takes in, the CO2 it takes in, and the oxygen it produces. And it's the same in a human organism that has, through deep relaxation actually, has become a master of even broader and even subtler aspects of itself. The resources flow toward that one and are utilized by that one in beautiful and creative ways that bless the whole. Bless the whole. And there's no one doing it, right? Because the one doing it inevitably gums up the system and creates a sort of power imbalance within the flow that will always break the harmony and create a kind of chaos that will eventually lead to decay and collapse. But within nature, there is just a perfection of ever fresh recreation of itself. So the form is never static, and it's forever being reimagined and rearticulated in each moment through a subtle structuring of energy patterns that are expressions of fields of intelligence, which are expressions of a unified field of expansive oneness, which is an expression of the eternal, unbounded wholeness that everything is within it, and is just a vibratory adjustment of that field, a vibratory tension that is coming in and articulating something, expressing something, but nothing is static. Nothing is static. And our tendency to want to find safety in security in what is static is death. That's death. It's a death wish, a draw towards what doesn't have life. Because only what is dead can be predicted, can be understood. Life can never be contained and can never be owned, can never be understood. For the life that we are is eternal. The expression of life is ever changing, ever flowing, ever re-articulating itself. And it's a glorious dance of devotional alchemy, devotional expression. It's not static and it's celebratory. The form is a celebration of the oneness. That's the form in its natural state, is when the form is a conscious celebration of wholeness and a conscious living of the oneness from which it emanates. That's the human in its natural order, in its natural expression, in its natural articulation, is the human who is in proper relation with the divine, actually. The divine, the source, the golden, radiant source of everything, the sun, the central sun source. And we just bow to that internally, and we can even bow to it as a body. Why not? That's fun too. But we can also just be lifted up by it, opened into expressive celebration of the divine that we are. This accepting that to be human is to be imperfect, but it is also to be divine, a divine expression, perfectly imperfect. And that's the paradox of being human. That's the paradox. And that's the great beauty of being human. It's the range of expression, the range of opposites and paradoxes, and the highest, most subtle vibrations, all the way down to the bones of your human biological body. The bones are minerals made of the earth, made of the rock, made of the very gritty material substance of a planet. And the mind reaches all the way beyond the stars to the glory of God. Amen and amen. And great glory. Amen.